Welcome back to Rules of Engagement. About to jump into a section about Terran. How it's the same old Terran race, but there's a couple new tricks you've got in Heart of the Swarm. So there's a couple things I want to point out in this replay. And one is going to be how the Reaper has been changed and how it's stronger and weaker with the new changes in Heart of the Swarm. Then the new medevac, how its changes will affect Terran play in Heart of the Swarm. And then we're going to end with how you can utilize the new medevac in some really cool tactical ways. And I'm just going to touch on it. But I want to let you guys know that these surface changes may seem like they're just tweaking numbers a bit, but all it takes is a small tweak in a number to really unlock a tremendous amount of tactical opportunities. So I'm just going to try to point out one really quickly in this replay. It's going to be Supernova versus Seed from our show match on Thursday. If you want to check out the full show match, you can go to youtube.com/official MLGSC2 to get those VODs. So jumping into this game, we're going to first talk about the new Reaper. So, one thing we can notice here, what's weird? There's a Barracks building a Reaper, but there's no Tech Lab, right? So that's one new change. You can build a Reaper without a Tech Lab, means you can get it out significantly faster, but more importantly, it means you can get it out without having to build the add-on, which then constrains your build in certain ways, right? Maybe you don't want to build a Tech Lab. Maybe you want to build a reactor on that Barracks. So if you wanted a Reaper, you have to build a Tech Lab, then lift it, build a reactor. Now you're building two add-ons. You're really only one. So it basically allows you to work in Reapers into your openings much more flexibly. Like any opening, you can almost throw a Reaper in. So that's one thing about the new Reaper. Next thing is, well, let's wait till this Reaper is produced. But the new Reaper no longer does significant damage for harass. And if we grab this Reaper, we can look at it. It's only 4 damage times 2. It used to do massive bonus damage to light units, which made it very effective at killing workers. Now it no longer does that. So, Reaper Harass will no longer do significant damage. I mean, maybe like if you get a whole ton of them, but basically they're no longer damaging units. But, another thing to look at it is, one, its movement speed is now 3.75. It's got a massive buff in movement speed. It also has a new regeneration ability. So these two factors make the Reaper much better at scouting. Because you can take a shot from a Stalker, you can take 2 shots from a Stalker, 3 shots from a Stalker, and then you can run away and regenerate, and you can go back and scout again in the future without having to be afraid of just dying instantly before you can even get into their base. So you can see here, Supernova is using the Reaper to scout. And he's going to use it to scout and more, run around, see exactly what's going on, get shot a couple times by the Mothership Core, and in your standard Wings of Liberty, this Reaper would now be unable to do scouting very effectively later on, because one Stalker would just 2-shot it. But as we can see here, as the Reaper runs away, as soon as it's out of combat, its regeneration kicks in, and look at that, it gets back to full health. Now it can go back and do another scouting circuit without fear of being killed. So the first thing it's doing is going to keep track of the Mothership Core, saying, you know what, if he's heading over here, maybe there's a proxy pylon, he might do some warp ins, so I'm going to try to keep track of that. Make sure there's nothing, no funny games going on, no pylons around here. Now that he confirms that, he's then going to go back on another scouting course. And this is still the same Reaper that in Wings of Liberty would have died already. But now, what can it do? It can scout the factors in expansion. You no longer have to send that SCV, hide it in the corner, and sneak it in at that 6-minute mark. Instead, you've got your Reaper for that. You no longer have to scan the main base, unless there's a whole army sitting there camping it, because you got the Reaper for that. He can jump in, and yeah, he can't really kill probes very well, but you can tell exactly what's going on. And now, normally he's taking a lot more damage, but he can get away. And then he's going to regenerate all that life again. So the Reaper is much, much, much more valuable as a scouting unit, although of course it will no longer do that great damage on the harass. But you can save so much money by getting one early and using it to consistently scout your opponent. Of course, it will still die if it runs into too many units, but if it doesn't, it can regenerate. Look, there's a Stalker there, gets shot a couple times, and now it can run away, and it's fine. They'll regenerate again. So its use as a continual scout is really, really powerful. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is let's go forward a little bit more in this replay. Well, now Reaper dies, finally. We jumped into something it couldn't deal with. But that scouting here is actually very useful. Because he saw, he's got 1 Stalker and 3 sentries. That means he's teching to something fast. Which means it's okay for me to send out an army and put on some pressure. So the Reaper let him know that it was okay to put on this pressure without having to scan or do anything else that's more expensive. And of course, this pressure, as soon as his opponent puts on that photon overcharge, he's going to run away. But he made him use that photon overcharge. So that's already kind of a little bit of a win. I mean, he lost some Marine, so it's unclear which is worth more, the Marine or that energy. But in any case, he was able to move out there and be free to move on the map because of that Reaper Scout. Let's just fast forward till we can get to talk about the next new unit, which is going to be the Medevac. And I mean, not a new unit, but some new changes. So the Medevac has this new ability called Ignite Afterburners. And this allows the Medevac to cross the map much faster. It can escape pursuers with ease, and it also can execute pickups under fire and still get away. So these three new things about the Medevac are pretty cool, and we can see one of them utilized already. This is something that people are starting to use. They say, you know what? I'm just trying to cross the map with the Medevac. It's a little bit of a harassment of the Oracles there, but he's got the turret. And that's because the Reaper saw the Stargate in the back, which is pretty useful. So the Reaper is paying off already. He's like, I want to get these Medevacs across the map so I can join my army and then go maybe do some drop plays. So what I'm going to do, he's going to use the Ignite Afterburners ability, and all of a sudden the Medevac is significantly faster, can jump across the map, and you know what? It might have only shaved about 5 seconds off maybe about 4 to 5 seconds off the time it takes him to cross this map, or maybe 3 to 4. But in any case, it's still 3 to 4 seconds. Why not do it? Because the cooldown's already back up again. It's a very, very fast cooldown. You can keep using this ability very frequently. So the one ability is you can cross the map faster and get your harass done. And that's nice. But now, of course, the problem is that the other advantage is you can use it to pick your guys up and get away. Here he decides not to. He decides to fight, get some more damage done. And this is your standard Terran decision-making on when to run away. I think he maybe ran away a little bit later than he should have there. Because he could have... it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't think he traded very efficiently there. He didn't kill many units and he lost a lot of Marines. As soon as this Photon Overcharge kicked in, and he saw there was an army there, so he couldn't run in and kill the probes, probably should have backed up. But the fact is the Medevac ability gives you so much more flexibility in picking up and getting away very, very, very quickly, able to escape pursuers, and not have to worry about losing those Medevacs whenever you pick up guys. So again, he can do it again. He's going back, picking up more guys. Using that Ignite Afterburners ability, watch how fast these Medevacs move, much faster than normal. They even outpace Mulists when they have that ability. So just shaving off a couple seconds in your ability to pick up guys and get back across the map to do more harassment. And you know what? By the time he gets a drop play, that cooldown is gonna be gone. It's gonna be back up, so you can again use that ability. So you can drop the units, see how much damage you can do. And again, I think he's probably overstaying his welcome a little bit here. He should probably get out of there. Definitely, if with this Nexus focusing his Medevacs, notice how he uses the Ignite Afterburners and this Medevac to try to get it out of range because he knows it's being focus fired. Not able to, actually he is able to quite make it out there, so that's another use. You can use it to escape the pursuers. Some of the Medevacs not making it out, but other ones are. And then pick up and just use them all to jet away. And then that one dies anyway, but, you know, it lived a little bit longer because of the ability. You know, every second of life is precious. At least that's what we tell ourselves sometimes. So then the next part I want to talk about is ways to really gain the most out of using these Medevacs. So one thing we can see here is very, very standard on Antigua Shipyard is as soon as your opponent takes his third base, then all of a sudden they got the Nexus up there, and then you can kind of go for the frontal attack, or you can drop the main, and it's a very long time for this army to get back into the main. And this is where the most important thing, there's a really cool strategic code I want to bring up to you guys. It's from Sir Basil Liddell Hart. He wrote a great book on classical strategy. It's just called, the book's title is Strategy. So type in strategy into Google and look for the one by Liddell Hart. It's a great book on strategy, but one of the things he says is to ensure attaining an objective, one should have alternate objectives. An attack that converges on one point should threaten and be able to diverge against another point. Only by this flexibility of aim can strategy be attuned to the uncertainty of war. So how this applies to Starcraft is what's very important. So Supernova's army has been right here. Now he has multiple objectives, right? He has the objective of killing the third, he has the objective of killing the main. That's 2 objectives. And his attack that converges on any one of those points is easily able to be diverged on the other. And the cool thing about it is the fact that, we'll just fast forward a little bit as he fights this battle, is that because of the Ignite Afterburners ability, he's eventually going to get held off here, but he's doing a very, very good trade. But because of this Ignite Afterburners ability that he can use to get back, regroup, and attack another base even faster. See, look how fast the Medevacs cross the map there. Because of this Ignite Afterburners ability, he has much more flexibility. He can divert his objective in a much faster time than a Terran normally can. So it's the same Terran. It's the same Marine, Marauder, Medevac. But there's a new trick, is that you have so much more mobility because of this Ignite Afterburners ability, and it really allows you to be much more flexible in moving to different targets. As we can see here, he hit this main so fast that Seed could barely get back, and the Nexus is dead, and now he's going to treat away. Now look at this. Boom. Ignite Afterburners. Look how fast he is. He's already at the third base. He's going to kill the third base, and that's a good game, right? Just because he's using the fact that he has multiple objectives and the mobile army, and he knows that as long as he has multiple objectives, he can just go after whichever one's easier to get, and then he can succeed at it. So that's how the uncertainty of war is the fact you don't know where your opponent's army is. If you have multiple objectives, you know one of them's going to be unoccupied, and you can just attack that one, and you'll have success. So this is a really cool tactical option that's really more powerful with this new Ignite Afterburners ability. I want to share it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. But that rounds it up for this segment. We'll take a quick break, then talk about how Ultralists are now stronger in Zerg vs. Zerg in Heart of the Swarm. See you guys in a minute.